Okay, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The January 10th, 2022 meeting of the Village Council of Forest Park will come to order. We begin our meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. If you're able to, please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God. Madam Clerk, when you're ready, would you call the roll?
Commissioner Burns,
Here.
Commissioner Maxim,
Here.
Commissioner Nero,
Here.
Commissioner Vogt. Here. Mayor Hoskins.
Here. Okay, Commissioners, approval of minutes. First, we have the December 13, 2021 minutes from the public hearing on the tax levy. Is there a motion to approve these minutes?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. It's been moved by Commissioner Burns. Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been seconded by Commissioner Maxim. Any discussion on the minutes? If there's no discussion, Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Burns,
Aye.
Commissioner Maxim,
Aye.
Commissioner Nero,
Abstain.
Commissioner Vogt.
Aye.
Mayor Hoskins.
Aye. Next, Commissioners, are the regular Village Council meeting minutes from December 13, 2021. Is there a motion to approve?
Nero, make that motion.
Thank you. It's been moved by Commissioner Nero. Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been seconded by Commissioner Maxim. Discussion? There's no discussion. Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Burns,
Aye.
Commissioner Maxim,
Aye.
Commissioner Nero,
Aye.
Commissioner Vogt.
Aye.
Mayor Hoskins.
Aye. Next, Commissioners, we have two sets of closed session meeting minutes. First one is from November 22nd, 2021 closed session meeting. Is there a motion to approve?
Sure, Nero, make that motion.
Thank you. It's been moved by Commissioner Nero. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, I think I heard Commissioner Vogt first. No offense, Commissioner Burns. Any discussion on those closed minutes from November 22nd?
I just want to thank the clerk for getting us the updated minutes today. Thank you.
You're welcome.
If there's,
Yeah, and Mayor, sorry. I wasn't at that meeting, but I was at the discussion afterwards, so I don't know if that affects my motion to approve it or not.
we shouldn't prosecute?
Just throwing it out there.
All right. Levity, folks. If there's no further discussion, Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Burns,
Aye.
Commissioner Maxim,
Aye.
Commissioner Nero,
Abstain.
Commissioner Vogt.
Aye.
Mayor Hoskins.
Aye. And we also have closed session meeting minutes from December 13, 2021. Is there a motion to approve these minutes?
Nero will make that motion.
Thank you. It's been moved by Commissioner Nero. Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been seconded by Commissioner Maxim. Discussion? There being none, Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Burns,
Aye.
Commissioner Maxim,
Aye.
Commissioner Nero,
Aye.
Commissioner Vogt.
Aye.
Mayor Hoskins.
Aye. Okay, we're at public comment. I see we have one public comment sheet. But I don't see the speaker here. We'll move on from there. He left a note, and we'll make copies of this for every member of the council if you all care to see this, okay? Moving on, communications, I don't see any formal communications, department reports. We have department reports from the fire department and the calendar year 2021 activity summary from the Department of Public Health and Safety. Does anyone care to comment on either of those two reports?
I would like to comment.
Commissioner Maxim,
Should I do it during my commissioner report or now?
what's your preference?
I'll do it now.
The floor is
Okay.
yours.
So we have a report from the Department of Public Health and Safety, and Director Steve Glinky put it together, and thank you for doing that, Steve. Of note, there were 1,726 permitted projects during the year. And each of those projects required at least one site visit by either Steve, who is there's two full-time workers in the department. So it's either Steve or Scott, who's part-time. So between the two of them, they're going out there a lot. Plus they have, what does it say? An average of 3 per business day. Other complaints like rats, neighbor disputes, garbage, hoarding situations, things like that. And they're such a great department. I've never heard anyone down there say that's not my job or no, I'm not going to do that. And they're kind of hidden away down in the basement here in Village Hall, but I just want to give a shout out. They're an amazing department and they keep everything related to building and zoning and a lot of other things going. So I thought the report was great and just wanted to say my department is awesome. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you for that endorsement of the report. Anybody else want to talk about the reports? If not, we can move on to bills by resolution. Madam Clerk, when you're ready.
I'm ready. Be it resolved by the Council of the Village of Forest Park, Cook County, Illinois, that we dispense with the reading of the individual bills, inasmuch as each department head has approved and signed bills in the following aggregate amount for the respective departments. Refunds and allocations, $5,921.59. Public Affairs, $93,909.07. Police Department, $1,419.39. Community Center, $3,033.80. Accounts and Finance Clerk's Office, $290,982.60. Accounts and Finance Fire Department, $114,140.80. Department of Health and Safety, $5,238.74. Street Department, $125,827.69. Public Property, $117,067.92. Seizure, $1,430.61. Federal Customs, $1,591.50. TIF, $13,045. VIP, $38.01. Water Department, $310,442.58, for a total of $1,084,089.30.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Commissioners, is there a motion to adopt the resolution on the bills?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. It's been moved by Commissioner Burns. Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been seconded by Commissioner Maxham. Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Burns,
Aye.
Commissioner Maxam,
Aye.
Commissioner Nero, Commissioner Vogt,
Aye.
Mayor Hoskins.
Aye.
This is Resolution R-01-22.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Commissioners, there is no unfinished business tonight, so we'll move on to new business. And the first item is a presentation by the village's auditors, Lauterbach and Ammon, regarding the village audit for the fiscal year running May 1, 2020 through April 30, 2021.
Good evening. Thank you. My name is Jamie Wilkie. I'm one of the audit partners with Lauterbach and Amen. And as indicated, we have just a brief presentation this evening of the village's April 30th, 2021 annual audit. I'd like to start this evening by certainly thanking the finance department and really the entire finance team. Undertaking a first-year audit in the middle of a pandemic is certainly no easy task. So certainly want to thank them this evening for all of their hard work. It really was a pleasure to work with them. They were absolutely cooperative, provided all necessary information. So certainly this evening, I want to start out by publicly thanking the department. So thank you. For anyone following along, or if you have a chance to take a look at the audited documents after tonight's meeting, I'll provide just a couple of key numbers and page number references as you have a chance to go back and review. So starting with the independent auditor's opinion that is provided on pages 1 and 2 of the larger document that you have this evening. We have issued what we call an unmodified or clean audit opinion. That is the highest opinion that the village can obtain. As part of our audit each year, which is required under Illinois state statute, we're required to assess a couple of different key items. Number one, to ensure with that audit opinion that the financial statements for the village are in fact materially correct. And that is indicated by that clean or unmodified opinion. As part of that process, we are also required to assess the village's overall internal control environment. So while we're not providing an actual opinion on internal controls this evening, we would be required to report to the village any red flags, areas of concern, findings, significant deficiencies, things of that nature. And we're happy to report we had no such findings. So truly a clean audit opinion for April 30th, 2021. The next section of the document on pages 4 through 15 is really the biggest key section within the report. It's called Management's Discussion and Analysis, and quite frankly serves as the executive summary to the report. It's a very large document, nearing about 200 pages. There's quite a bit to digest. So this section really is intended to be kind of that Cliff Notes executive summary version of the transactions for the year. I know that the finance team provided a couple of key highlights in the board document for this evening. Just to reiterate that the general fund did report a surplus for the year, but remember much of that is coming from COVID relief programs and revenues that came in. The village was able to continue with some of the capital projects that were ongoing. So certainly you'll see some discussion on investment and capital. And the village was also able to retire some existing long-term debt and long-term loans payable on the books. So while we're still in a pandemic, certainly I wanted to highlight a few key items that hopefully contributed to some positivity during the year as far as financial results as well. We did issue what we call a management letter as part of this year's audit. That's really our opportunity to provide some best practice recommendations to the village. So we did provide some policy recommendations as well as some information on upcoming accounting standards changes. So we'll be working with the finance team into this next year to take a look at some of those draft policies, give examples, and certainly be here as a resource during any of those policy implementations. And last item to note, we were also required as part of the audit to take a look at the village's TIF districts. So there is annual required compliance reporting that we have to do on behalf of the village. Just to note that there were no such findings, clean audit opinion, really the highest level reporting you can have for the TIF districts as well. So certainly happy to answer any questions that the board might have this evening, but just wanted to reiterate a very clean first year audit process.
Commissioners, are there any questions?
The policy changes, would they have to come by resolution, or can we just internally make those policy changes?
You want to answer that?
Sometimes they come in two different versions. Certainly they can come before the board as far as a formal policy. There might be one or two on that list that would be more of kind of an internal operating type policy. So certainly up to management of which direction they would like to go with those.
I'm pretty sure Tish is very well familiar with this, and we need to take action. She'll let us know.
Yes.
Mayor.
Commissioner Nero.
It's not really a question. I just wanted to recognize our finance department. Certainly a clean, unmodified opinion doesn't happen by accident. And certainly the hard work and effort by Director Olmsted and her department and all the department heads working together and diligently to help bring this together. So hats off to you. Thank you very much. Good work.
Well, we appreciate you providing the overview.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was good news. So you can come back next year. More
Thank-
levity.
Thank you. Appreciate you
But
having us.
in
this
all
evening.
seriousness, we have faith in our staff. So this is,
They really do an outstanding job, and I don't get to say that everywhere, so certainly,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
all right. Commissioners, the next item is a resolution approving the collective bargaining agreement between the Village of Forest Park and AFSMI Local 3026. Is there a motion to approve the CBA?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. It's been moved by Commissioner Burns. Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been seconded by Commissioner Maxham. Discussion on the collective bargaining agreement. Moses, do you have anything you want to say about the agreement? It kind of speaks for itself. Well, if there are no questions about this agreed to document, Madam Clerk, would you call the roll?
Commissioner Burns,
Aye.
Commissioner Maxim,
Aye.
Commissioner Nero,
Aye.
Commissioner Vogt,
Aye.
Mayor Hoskins.
Aye.
This is Resolution R-02-22.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Commissioners, the next item is a resolution authorizing a waiver of the hiring freeze for IMRF employees regarding the hiring of a full-time executive secretary to the mayor and a full-time accounts payable clerk. Is there a motion?
De Niro will make that motion.
Thank you. It's been moved by Commissioner Nero. Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been seconded by Commissioner Maxham. Discussion?
I have a question.
Commissioner Vogt.
When did we post the listing for the accounts payable clerk?
That was in October.
October, okay. I'm just curious. I know,
It may have been November. Whenever she gave her notice, we
Okay.
posted it right away.
okay. Because I'm curious why we're just voting to lift the freeze now. Kind of 2 months out. And I know like Moses and I talked about this sometime last year, but I would prefer if we were voting to lift the hiring freeze before the process begins or before someone's hired.
No one's been hired.
Not for that position, no. I'm just saying in general, I would prefer if we were lifting the freeze ahead of time. I mean, this particular position, I know it's pretty cut and dry. The position was vacated and we need to fill it. And so that's pretty basic, but I would imagine in the future, there could certainly come a time where the council may determine that they don't wish to fill a position or they're not comfortable hiring at that time. And I just want to make sure that, staff and applicants' time isn't wasted and village resources aren't wasted on a search before we've deemed to fill a position. I don't know what anyone else thinks about that, but
I don't know what the delay, I don't recall what the delay was. We haven't had many meetings since then. I know she may have given her notice right before Thanksgiving, and we just had the December meeting. We didn't have, multiple meetings, but typically it happens right away when we're actively seeking to hire someone.
right, okay.
Mayor.
Commissioner Nero.
I did, if I understand you correctly, it sounds to me like just lifting the hiring freeze and then everything else comes afterwards to help reduce the unforeseen opportunity for wasted work, right? Such as advertisement, interviews, et cetera. If for some reason the council would not want to lift the hiring freeze or waive the hiring freeze. But question on that, just real quick, if I thought I was understanding that the hiring freeze, when we lift it, is for a period of time. Or is that period of time, is that set in some, in concrete, or is that something that the council votes on, by the way? I'm unclear on that.
What you're doing is lifting the hiring freeze for that position. So there's no
Okay,
time
so there's no
associated
time.
with it.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
And Vanessa, you can correct me if I'm wrong, that that position in the clerk's office, we got one application, what was it, 2 weeks ago for that, or a week and a half ago? And that was the only application we received.
I just received a second one this week,
Okay,
the one that I told you about today.
okay. But that was out there for at least 2 months and nobody was applying for the job.
I was hoping we'd get something after the holidays, so kind of came through.
Commissioner Maxim?
I have a question, I guess, sort of related to what Commissioner Vogt was asking. What is the typical procedure? Do we find someone we want to hire first and then lift the freeze? Or do we lift the freeze in anticipation of finding someone and make it to make it, you know, a quicker process?
The latter.
Is there any further discussion?
Yeah, I one more, I guess, statement. Because there's two positions listed for this freeze. And I just wanted to sort of go on the record saying that I think all positions should be publicly posted. And all applicants should be vetted like any and all prospective village employees. I think optics are important. I know the mayor said as such in a Forest Park Review article when he was discussing the anti-nepotism policy that we approved in 2019. And that policy says that, you know, it's the policy of the village to provide equal employment opportunities and to base personnel procedures and hiring practices upon individual merit and qualification rather than political or family advantage or favoritism. So it's a policy important that I think we need to be consistent about because it protects the credibility of the village. And it also protects the credibility of the person hired. It's unfair to everybody involved if actions are perceived to be, you know, the result of nepotism or cronyism or favoritism. And that includes the village and the person hired. They could be a perfect fit and very qualified, but without following the personnel procedures and hiring practices, it's far too easy to give the wrong impression, and perceptions and optics make a difference. I'm very disappointed that we're put into this position to lift the freeze, which amounts to a tacit approval of how this situation has been handled, or to vote no and leave positions unfilled, or what could be perceived as a vote against a person. And this is about process. Any perceptions of nepotism, cronyism, or favoritism weakens the credibility of the village, and tacit approvals of such practices weaken the credibility of the council. So I just had to say that because I have to speak what I believe is the right thing to do.
Is there any further comment? Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Burns,
Aye.
Commissioner Maxim,
Aye.
Commissioner Nero. Commissioner Vogt,
Abstain.
Mayor Hoskins.
Aye.
This is Resolution R-03-22.
Okay. Commissioners, the next item is an ordinance waiving bids and authorizing the acceptance of a proposal from Griffin Systems, Inc. for the purchase and installation of surveillance cameras at various locations within the village of Forest Park. Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. It's been moved by Commissioner Burns. Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been seconded by Commissioner Maxham. Discussion? Did staff want to make any kind of presentation on this item? It's not necessary, but if you do. Can you kind of give us a 10,000-foot overview of, you gave us a great memo, Kim, but if you can maybe hone in on a couple, or maybe give the commissioners a chance to ask questions. I'm not sure if they do have some or not.
I don't know if the mic is on.
Is that working?
Yeah.
So if you refer to the memo, I think it's a good basic outline of what we're proposing. It's an 11 camera system at various points throughout the village to help us prevent and solve crimes. And there be 4 LPRs attached, which are license plate readers. Those would help again with felony vehicles coming into town. Those are license plates that are reported stolen, vehicular hijacked vehicles, missing persons, and to try to, in that case, help people. And in the case of stolen cars, missing persons, stolen cars, hijacked vehicles, to try to locate them, potentially capture them or chase them out of town. Because a lot of times those cars coming into town that are stolen, hijacked, are coming here to commit further crimes. And I've talked to officers in other towns nearby that have a pretty widespread LPR system, and they've been very successful in at least chasing these vehicles out of town. And it prevents a lot of car burglaries, thefts to auto dealerships, burglaries to auto dealerships, some of the catalytic converter thefts we've been seeing, which a lot of times we've been noticing are stolen autos. So it's just a small little nutshell of what the system will do. As far as Madison Street, we would have cameras on Madison Street. It would help us surveil from inside the station and from squad cars. And if there is an incident the next day, look at video to see if we could get suspect information, vehicle information to help our detectives in solving crimes. I know our detectives are very hot on this because it'll help them out a lot. River Forest has a similar system, and I've personally seen it in use when I was in detectives. And as I've furthered into deputy chief and the chief position, and it's a high definition system. It's a system that works and a system that's helpful in the law enforcement arena. And, it's bringing us up to speed with modern technology.
Thanks, Ken. Commissioners, do you have any questions for the chief?
I just have a couple of comments. I've seen this in operation over at River Forest. There's a camera on Madison Street. When they zoomed it, we could see all the way down to Harlem Avenue on Madison Street. And the clarity is unbelievable with these cameras. Another situation that nobody's thought of, and until Sal brought it up to me, he said, if we had these cameras, I can look at it at home and see when I have to call out the street department to go out there and start plowing and start salting streets, which is another advantage to him. So he doesn't get people out here too early or get them out here too late. All he has to do is look at the cameras and see what the snowfall is. So it's another advantage for the village to have those things in there.
And something I forgot to add, commissioners, we'd like to, offer this system or offer other local governments, so the library, the school district, the park district, to maybe look into the same system. So there's some interoperability within the government in the village, to just have a system that intertwines and could be used collectively among the different departments and government bodies.
Commissioner Maxham had a question.
What would you say to people who are concerned about privacy?
On the street, there is no expectation of privacy. We're not using this to peep in the people's windows. License plates, it's a plain, there's something called the plain view doctrine. So every license plate, everybody could see, any officer could run any license plate. I could stand at Madison and Des Plaines in my squad car and run every plate that runs by. There's case law that backs that. There's precedent. I could go and run any VIN on a car because it's visible. The camera on the street is, again, on the street. We're not using it to look into your home where you have the highest expectation of privacy. When you're on the public way, that expectation is lost. So again, we're not here to be big brother to peer into your lives. We're using it to prevent some of the increases in crimes we have seen and try to solve crimes, prevent crime, solve crime, and just help locate suspects, figure out who suspects are. And what we do too, when we get suspect info, we don't just keep it to ourselves. We'll give it to River Forest, Cicero, Berwyn, North Riverside. Depending on what the crime is, it might spread out to other towns. So they could be on the lookout for these suspects' autos as well.
Commissioner Nero.
Or, I'm sorry. Okay. That's just two clarifications on the comment about intergovernmental, between Village Forest Park here. Is that something that's already happened or you plan on getting together?
If let's say the school district wanted to get a camera system or was looking into a security system, we would ask them to get something comparable. Same with the park district and with the library.
I think that's a great idea. I almost think we put together what package we have it delivered to them.
And something to think of too, River Forest already has the system. So now there's interoperability between our government and their government.
Yeah.
North Riverside's talked about getting the system, maybe doing some cost sharing at future times at Des Plaines and Cermak, 16th and Harlem.
Okay, and then the other thing, I hope you didn't cover it in the beginning and I missed it. If I did, I apologize. On the policing aspect of this, or AI, if you will, with the license plate readers, is there any real-time information that goes back when a vehicle enters with a record or a problem or stolen vehicle that alerts the central station? Did you mention that in the beginning, I think?
I did, but I could cover it again, and it'll tie into a question Maria had as well, as far as privacy issues. All it's doing is reading the license plate. It's not going after personal information. So like my car is listed in my name. I think my driver's license may be attached, but what it's looking at when the plate runs through, it's not alerting Forest Park that Ken Gross came through town. If I happen to have a warrant and that's attached to that license plate, it's going to alert the Village of Forest Park. If my car is reported stolen, it's going to alert the Village of Forest Park, and that's going to be on the officers' computers and in our communications center. So our officers through the squad car could actually hook up into the internet and pick cameras out to look at and get LPR data.
Yeah, and I think that's important for everybody to hear, right? It's not some a camera sitting up in the sky collecting data that we have to go back through and look at later, that there's some real-time functionality that provides benefit not only to our police officers in the field, but also the residents. I think this is something that's been a while coming. I applaud the work. I think Steve Blinky jumped on this early months ago, maybe a year ago.
Yeah, it was Steve who spearheaded the whole thing.
Yeah,
So
I
I'm not
mean,
going to
this is
sit here and take credit for it.
fantastic for the Village of Forest Park. I'm all for it. I'm happy to see it finally come and hit the agenda. Thanks for all the hard work putting it together, and anything that helps our police department, keeps our officers or residents safe. I know it's a significant investment, but pennies when considered what it can do and how it's going to help us stay safe.
And I
out there.
think if it is a success, we could add on to it and grow the program. And I know our detectives are chomping at the bit.
Great, thank you.
Commissioner Vogel.
So all of the locations that these are at, are these all over cameras or?
They're not going to have flashing lights like the city of Chicago has in some spots. There'll be camera domes. You'll be able to see that they're there. I had discussions earlier that maybe at entry points in town where we have the signs that say no parking 2 a.m. to 5 a.m. We could also put some type of signage saying that this is a video surveillance community, or as some type of signage to alert people that we do have
Yeah,
a camera
'cause
system in place.
That was one of my questions. I
it's
saw
not-
that you
it's not-
removed that from, because the policy is a generic sort of Lexipol policy, right?
I made some changes to it.
Right. But I've seen some versions that do include that there'll be signage kind of alerting folks to their presence, and that was removed. So I was just curious,
Okay,
like,
and we could always put it on our website and let people know. And again, entry points in town.
Why would we do that? What would be the benefit of that?
Deterrent effect.
it you would be interested in the deterrent effect. People know they're being watched. They have a tendency to not behave themselves. But also for citizens' rights and, civil liberty concerns and
Sorry.
privacy
I'm
issues,
just
folks
saying.
should know that they're being watched. And, and generally, like, I don't know that we have anywhere in town that's strictly business. Even Madison has apartments and stuff, on second floors and stuff like that. So these are all pan tilt zoom cameras, or are they fixed?
It's fixed and we could zoom, but again, we're not swerving into people's apartment buildings and looking in their windows, and it's not gonna be like a scene from Animal House where Pluto's up on the ladder, or Pluto. Yeah, it's gonna be for street surveillance only. If someone was abusing it, there'd be discipline.
And that was another question I had. As far as discipline, that's not laid out in the policy.
But there's other policies that would cover employee conduct.
Okay, so like what, in terms of abuse of this technology, since it's new, would kind of the typical disciplinary action be?
Depends on the offense.
That's kind of beyond what we're discussing tonight. We're going to authorize whether to make the purchase and give them permission. The policy would have to be developed as we go along, but the chief is not in a position to anticipate all those kinds of, they're good questions, Commissioner Vogel, but just,
And I think they
keep
should
in
be
mind where
addressed.
we
I also think that, community engagement would be helpful for folks to know how these work and how they'll be used. It's a little tricky to think of what's going to happen in the future if we're not limiting their use now. You kind of open the door to.
It's going to be used as a law enforcement function. It's not going to be used for fun. This is another tool that we're going to use to make this a safer community and help try to solve and prevent crime. And again, you go back to missing persons. If my child was missing and the missing person information was attached to a license plate, or as my parents get older, if you had a silver alert and my mom has Alzheimer's, she's driving down Madison Street, and that's a reason for her, or a way that she gets returned back to me, I think that's worth every penny. And I'm
Absolutely.
sure I'm not the only
And
family.
I don't doubt the benefits of the system, but I do think that we owe it to the public to just talk about, because we're all human beings, right? And
I'm wearing a camera right now. I mean, I could
And
record this.
there's-
Every call we go on, there's cameras everywhere. People are pulling out cell phones. This is just a camera in the sky. There's 11 of them in town. On any call my guys are going on, especially on midnights, there's probably 11 cell phone cameras on them, and half of them are probably being live streamed through Snapchat or FaceTime Live or whatever. So, 1984 is long gone. We're way past that.
I have one more question. This goes back to public safety. Generally, I've read that it's best to sort of limit and manage who has access to the cameras and the footage because, of course, of misuse. And, what do we tell somebody who might be concerned about becoming possibly a victim of stalking, or an ex-partner misusing this technology to sort of track them? And I'm more concerned about that when you talk about getting everyone in the community, linked up to the system versus just a few trained police officers managing it.
We're not going to be looking into the schools or the parks or the library. It's just that if we have a comparable system, it just works better across all platforms. So it's easier for us to get video, know how their system works. I'm sure there would be potential for tie-ins, let's say in the school district for a school shooting, which is something we have to think about, but we're not going to sit there and stalk teachers and kids. That's not what the platform's for. I know there's a training I went to. There's a lot of things that are possible, but what's probable? Is it possible that, and this is a quote from someone else, and I hope you're not taking insult by it. Is it possible that aliens come out of the sky right now and shoot us with, blue slime? Yes, I guess it's possible. Is it probable? No. So is it possible that the system's abused? It's possible that any system's abused. Your laptop could
It's
be
not
abused.
possible. It's happened. There's a lot of documented cases of this. I'm not bringing this up. This is just things that I found. So I want to make sure that we've thought about all of them to help we need to convey to the public that we're doing everything we can to keep them safe.
And within the policy, there's, it outlines when it's to be used and how it's not to be abused. So it is within the policy that's not active yet. It's just a draft policy.
Um, and since it is a draft policy, I know at the end, it says that you will do a yearly audit.
Yep.
And present that. I'm wondering if we couldn't include that yearly audit presented to the council and they have to reapprove the program every year?
That would probably not be practical. If we find that there has been some abuse or misuse, that would be handled through disciplinary proceedings and measures. However, this is a significant cost to put this into place. So I think, there's always the danger of letting the perfect be the enemy of the good. I think right now we can take pride in the fact that we have a really good, dedicated professional police force. They have a tool at their disposal that they, in their professional judgment, believe could help protect Forest Park, its lives and its property. We're aware of civil liberty type concerns. Earlier today, the chief and the administrator and I talked about potential signage to put people on alert that they are in a community that uses surveillance. So we want to see it fit the community. Not everyone is going to be happy about it, but then not everyone is happy about things like, the nighttime parking ban and things like that. So, when you ask whether or not every year the council will have to, reauthorize this, that's not a resolution we're voting on tonight. If we find that the program is problematic and is rife with abuse, we could continue, we could make a decision to scrap it or to modify it. But I think we're having a good discussion about the pros and cons. But let's not anticipate that we're going to see the worst, right? They're good questions. You're thinking ahead, and I can encourage you to continue to think ahead. But this is a draft policy. It's not everyone in this area is doing it. You said North Riverside is considering it. River Forest has it.
Right.
So we'll see what's worked for our neighbors to the north. And if something hasn't worked for them, then we'll make the appropriate adjustments.
If I could add, Mayor, with River Forest, they started up on Lake Street and they've expanded the program. And are they on Madison Street yet? So they're from Lathrop all the way to the lake. It's been such a success in their town that they've added on to the program. So they've got nearly Lake Street and South. They don't have the north end, do they? Well, the whole town? Oh, there you go. So, and there are currently cameras, the red light cameras, which we use to help solve crimes that we have access to, and they have yet to be abused in any way, but have been used for the greater good.
Commissioner Vogt, do you have any other questions?
One more question. Would it be possible to hold a informational community sort of event where you could share the program and allow folks to ask questions and, possibly we could talk about modifications to the draft policy?
Potentially.
Potentially, we can talk about the draft policy, but I would like you to commit to a community. informational-
We've had like public type meetings before with the police department. We did that in 2020.
Specifically about the cameras?
No, it wasn't specifically about the cameras. We didn't have cameras back then, but we have had public type meetings. And maybe we will in the future. I think people are going to write about this. I'm sure the paper is going to write about it. There's no reason that, we can't put some information on the website about the cameras. In the age of COVID, right? I don't want to start, put together a bunch of public meetings. Certainly, the community has a right to know what we're doing. So maybe we will have public meetings and we'll look at that. But I think right now we need to get a policy in order. And then, come back to that question. It's not a bad idea. I just want to let them kind of do their business, and the politicians will worry about the political piece and communicating this to the general public at another time.
Politicians also have to consider privacy and folks' rights and
I just have one question here. These cameras are dedicated for street service, right?
Yes, sir.
Street, for the street.
Yes.
It's not dedicated to look into somebody's house or look into somebody's restaurant or anything like that. It's looking down Madison Street, it's looking down Des Plaines, it's looking down Harlem, wherever we're putting these cameras.
Correct.
So those are people that are driving in a public area,
On the roadway, yes.
in a public area,
Or
on a
walking on
public
the
street.
sidewalk, yes.
And if they don't obey the law, or if there's something wrong with the car, if the car is stolen, then they have to suffer the consequences for that. It's not taking away their privacy. It's something that they're doing wrong. with
Again,
these
you
cameras.
you have no expectation of privacy on the public way.
That's all my,
you doing your business. Though.
Commissioner Nero.
Yeah, good discussion. Let's remember the big picture here. Let's talk to the 95% here. And I'll tell you right now, from where I sit, I think it was only a week ago, we had two folks pull up to the gas station or the car wash with an assault rifle and a firearm and carjack, and there's been other carjackings and other shootings in town. And so, Chief, do you think that this technology will help us to perhaps not only solve, but bring some of these folks to justice? I use that lightly.
It'll help us to at least develop suspects. If you think about the homicide at Harlem and Circle, we probably have suspect video
Yes.
there. The carjacking you're talking about, suspect info. We do have car info right now, but we would have further info. There were 13 vehicular hijackings in 2021. This would have helped. The people drove into town, and most of them, where we have chase vehicle license plates, they came into town in stolen cars, would have potentially been triggered by a license plate. We've had 13 shooting incidents in 2021 compared to 1 the year before and 4 in 2019. If you recall, at Walmart, there's a pretty big shooting incident. Actually, 2 of them within a few weeks. And again, if they were coming here in stolen cars, the offenders, it would have hopefully triggered through an LPR and could have potentially been prevented, chased out of town, captured, or at least suspect development. And that not only includes cars, but persons, clothing descriptions, et cetera,
Very good.
direction of travel.
So I just would say that listening to all of that thing, it's hard to. I'd be surprised to find living in Forest Park and folks living in Forest Park to find anything negative about installing such equipment. And I would say as part of your normal operation, there is, I would assume, some sort of employee handbook or code of conduct for a police officer. And I would assume for an interim policy that the code of conduct for a police officer for acting outside of the boundaries of that code of conduct certainly would fall in line with some of the stuff that Commissioner Vogel's talking about. So perhaps that could be used and probably is going to be used as a Band-Aid until maybe some of this other stuff could be fleshed out. Is that not right?
Yes.
Thank you. No more questions,
I have
promise.
One final question.
Commissioner Maxim.
Okay, one last question. So this is going to be the same system that River Forest uses,
Yes.
correct? And that's why we're waiving bid on this, so we can get the same system that they have, so we can interface, share video.
Correct.
Okay.
And we've already used their video
Got it.
for incidents in the past, including their LPR data for burglaries. I know there are a few burglaries and other incidents that happen in town. They at least used to have an LPR on Lathrop near Brown. And that helped us at least develop a suspect.
Excellent, thank you.
And also that homicide at Harlem and Circle, we got some video information from the River Forest cameras that helped lead us to an offender who we have an offender, we just haven't had him charged. but we have video that helped us develop that suspect.
Thank you.
Just one last thing. I have no doubt in the fact that cameras can help assist in reducing crime and in helping helping you do your jobs. That's not why I ask these questions. It's also important to just pause and make sure that we're not getting ahead of ourselves when we're talking about, you know, people's rights and privacy. That's all. And I think it's important to ask these questions. So that we can just hopefully be aware of these things as we're moving forward. And I also hope that you can put in the plan for signage.
Yeah, that would be up to,
The village.
I can
Thank
assist
you,
with-
Ken. You answered it correctly. It's up to the village. We'll make that decision together. It's been discussed. We discussed it with the village attorney earlier this evening. And, you know, it's a new thing, right? Technological advances present opportunities to towns like us to operate more efficiently in different ways. And there can always be unintended consequences. But as Commissioner Nero pointed out, this is something that Director Glinke has been talking about for a long time. He brought it to our public safety leadership team. You know, it's been vetted by law enforcement. These are the individuals who have the expertise for the most part. We set the policy. This body sets the policy. And of course, we're going to make sure that the community understands what we're doing and why. It's important that the people of Forest Park feel like they're getting a good value for their tax dollar. And that value also includes public safety related services. So they don't want to feel like they're being walked on by the first responders and by the public safety officials. But at the same time, we want to be responsive to the people who have concerns about their property. You know, homes are selling at greater values. People are coming to Forest Park. It's a destination. And there are several reasons why it's a destination. And I think this purchase makes perfect sense. So having said that, Madam Clerk, are you ready to call the vote?
I'm ready. Commissioner Burns,
Aye.
Commissioner Maxim,
Aye.
Commissioner Nero. Commissioner Vogt. Mayor Hoskins.
Aye.
This is ordinance O-01-22.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Commissioners, the next item is ordinance waiving bids and authorizing the acceptance of a proposal from Lyons Penner Electric Companies for the electrical services required for the installation of the surveillance cameras at various locations within the village. Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
I think I heard Commissioner Maxim first. Her voice has a higher pitch. Commissioner Burns, are you going to second? Seconded by Commissioner Burns. Discussion? There being none, Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Burns. Commissioner Maxim,
Aye.
Commissioner Nero,
Aye.
Commissioner Vogt.
Aye.
Mayor Hoskins.
Aye.
This is ordinance O-02-22.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Commissioners, next item is a resolution approving the specifications and authorizing advertising of bids for the 510 Des Plaines Green Parking Lot Improvements Project. Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Been moved by Commissioner Vogt. Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been seconded by Commissioner Burns. Discussion? There's no discussion. Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Burns,
Aye.
Commissioner Maxim,
Aye.
Commissioner Nero.
Aye.
Commissioner Vogt, Mayor Hoskins.
Aye.
This is resolution R-04-22.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Commissioners, the next item is a resolution authorizing the execution of a pay request number 1 for the Jackson and Austin meter vault repairs to Genco Industries. Is there a motion?
Nero make that motion.
Thank you. It's been moved by Commissioner Nero. Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been seconded by Commissioner Vogt. Discussion? No discussion. Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Burns,
Aye.
Commissioner Maxim,
Aye.
Commissioner Nero.
Aye.
Commissioner Vogt.
Aye.
Mayor Hoskins.
Aye.
This is Resolution R-05-22.
Commissioners, the next item is a resolution authorizing the execution of a pay request number 1 for the Jackson and Austin Meter Vault Repairs Project to Burke LLC. Is there a motion?
Nero will make that motion.
Thank you. It's been moved by Commissioner Nero. Is there a second? It's been seconded by Commissioner Vogt. Discussion? No discussion. Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Burns. Commissioner Maxim.
Aye.
Commissioner Nero.
Aye.
Commissioner Vogt.
Aye.
Mayor Hoskins.
Aye.
This is Resolution R-06-22.
All right, Commissioners, next item is a resolution authorizing qualified bidding services of Christopher Burke Engineering Limited for the Phase 3 engineering services for the Jackson Boulevard resurfacing project. Is there a motion?
Yeah, yes, Nero will make that motion.
Thank you. It's been moved by Commissioner Nero. Is there a second? It's been seconded by Commissioner Vogt. Discussion? Commissioner Vogt, I'm sorry, Commissioner Maxim has a question.
Is this the first time the village has used quality-based selection? And could you explain a little bit about it, please?
To my knowledge, under the new policy, yes. I can't speak for a couple years ago, but I think under this policy that needed to be implemented, it was required to be implemented. This is the second time. The first time was for the commuter bike improvements. So this is the second time. And moving forward, as we receive federal monies, we will continue to proceed with the procurement of engineering services, where required, based on what, the projects that are funded federally.
Council, how do you do?
Yeah, I just echo what Moses was going to say. This is the second time we've used it. If you may recall, a couple months ago, we amended the procurement code to provide for this QBS scoring metric and qualifications. And that's really derived from the new requirements for, I think it's federal funding, requires you to do it instead of just going out and picking who you want. You got to go through this process. So not every project will have this, but this is one of those that does.
Thanks, Council. If there is no further discussion or no further questions on this resolution, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Burns.
Aye.
Commissioner Maxim.
Aye.
Commissioner Nero. Commissioner Vogt.
Aye.
Mayor Hoskins.
Aye.
This is Resolution R-07-22.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Commissioners, the next item is an ordinance authorizing the sale or disposition of surplus property of the Village of Forest Park, parentheses, a vehicle and an iPad. Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
It's been moved by Commissioner Vogt. Is there a second? It's been seconded by Commissioner Nero. Discussion. There being none, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Burns.
Aye.
Commissioner Maxim.
Aye.
Commissioner Nero. Commissioner Vogt. Mayor Hoskins.
Aye.
This is ordinance O-03-22.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Commissioners, the next item is a motion to approve an entertainment license application submitted by Shortstop Lounge. Excuse me, there's two applications, one by Shortstop Lounge and one by Pioneer Tap. Is there a motion on these applications?
Sorry, Nero will make that motion.
Thank you. It's been moved by Commissioner Nero. Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been seconded by Commissioner Burns. Discussion? There's no discussion, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Burns.
Aye.
Commissioner Maxim.
Aye.
Commissioner Nero.
Aye.
Commissioner Vogt.
Aye.
Mayor Hoskins.
Aye. Commissioners, the next item is a motion to approve an entertainment license application submitted for the Lantern House at 7414 Madison. Is there a motion to approve?
I will make that motion.
Thank you. It's been moved by Commissioner Maxim. Is there a second? If there's not a second, the application cannot be approved. So the chair will call again. Is there a second on the application for the Lantern House? It certainly is my favorite bar. But I think we need to treat these applicants the same. Thank you, Commissioner Vogt. Discussion? Commissioners, just point of clarification, in each case, the applicants have indicated that they intend to, perform within the guidelines that this council set in terms of hours for ceasing operations. They're simply complying with the rules that we've put in place. So thank you for that motion. Madam Clerk,
Commissioner Burns,
question, Commissioner Vogt.
Discussion. There's a date on the application that's passed. So I trust that this approval starts on the 11th.
This is prospective approval. Any further questions? Madam Clerk,
Commissioner Burns,
Aye.
Commissioner Maxim,
Aye.
Commissioner Nero.
Aye.
Commissioner Vogt, Mayor Hoskins.
aye. Commissioners, next item is a motion to approve a raffle license application from the American Legion at 500 Circle. Is there a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. It's been moved by Commissioner Burns. Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been seconded by Commissioner Maxim. Discussion? If there's no discussion, Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Burns,
Aye.
Commissioner Maxim,
Aye.
Commissioner Nero,
Aye.
Commissioner Vogt, Mayor Hoskins.
Aye. Commissioners, the next item is a motion to approve a Black History Month requesting a banner from the Historical Society of Forest Park. Is there a motion to approve? Thank you. It's been moved by Commissioner Vogt. Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been seconded by Commissioner Burns. Discussion? If there is no discussion, Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Burns,
Aye.
Commissioner Maxim,
Aye.
Commissioner Nero,
Aye.
Commissioner Vogt, Mayor Hoskins.
Aye. All right, Commissioners, the final item under new business for tonight is a motion to approve the request from the Harlem German Chorus, or DANK, German American Cultural Society, to host the German Fest in the Grove on June 24 and June 25 of 2022. Is there a motion?
Sure, Nero will make that motion.
Thank you. It's been moved by Commissioner Nero. Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been seconded by Commissioner Maxim. Discussion? If there's no discussion, Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Burns,
Aye.
Commissioner Maxim,
Aye.
Commissioner Nero,
Aye.
Commissioner Vogt, Mayor Hoskins.
Aye. Okay, council, that concludes our new business. We are at Administrator's Report. Moses, do you have anything for us tonight? Moses, I see you're wearing an Alabama themed mask, so.
Check and see if the mic's on.
So first off, Happy New Year, everyone. Two things. The first thing, sorry for not bringing it up earlier when you asked, Mayor, but I want to thank the bargaining unit members of ASME representative, and the village staff for your time over the last several months in negotiation of the collective bargaining agreement that was approved tonight by council. So thank you, everybody who was involved with that process. I appreciate your time and efforts and energy to go into those negotiations. So thank you again. The one thing I want to report tonight is I wanted to thank staff, clerk's office, finance department, also the Department of Health and Safety. We have done a soft rollout of the new Springbrook software, the Civic Pay system. Water, our water account, our residents will see a pamphlet in the next water bill describing the system. It's more user-friendly. You'll be able to go online, create an account, look at your water history without having to call the village. It's more robust in doing payments online, whether it be for business licenses. Eventually, it'll be building permits. but especially water is the biggie that we get a lot of questions for. So we've done a soft rollout with that. The links are available on our village website right now. Eventually, the Illinois e-pay system will slowly go away. We will keep it though for food pantry donations. It's a great resource and easy to receive those donations, but eventually everything will morph over to the Springbrook Civic Pay system. So please be on the lookout. In your next water bill, there will be a flyer about that information, as well as on our Facebook and e-newsletter publications. So that concludes my report tonight. But again, thank you to the staff for your efforts in rolling out this system that's been in the works for a couple of years now.
Thank you, Moses. Okay, commissioners, we are at commissioners' reports. Commissioner Burns.
You know, before we got a report from our auditors, and you know, I didn't say anything because I thought I was going to save it for commissioners' reports, but everybody was saying what a great job. You don't have to tell me what a great job that Tish does, because she is just unbelievable. You know, anybody that's come in there to check their mail and you look over in the office there, the lights on, and she's there. Danielle. You know, the staff in the village clerk's office is just amazing. And they've been working short one person, and tonight hopefully we'll rectify that with the lifting of the hiring freeze. But I'm just very proud of these people that continue to do their job and do it with no complaints. I mean, the long hours that they put in there is unbelievable. And I again want to thank Tish for all she does, and the girls up in the office there is with including Danielle that spends a lot of time there, and Vanessa is right in there too. So we all should be very proud of the people that we have up in that office up there, because without them we wouldn't be getting reports like that from our auditors, because they keep their finger on the budget. That's all I have to say.
Thanks, Commissioner Burns. Commissioner Max, you already gave your report.
You did.
Can I go again?
Sure, Commissioner
Okay.
Maxon.
I want to second what Joe said. I thought the audit report obviously was glowing and great. And thank you, Director Olmsted, for doing such a great job. That was fantastic. Big and exciting news for my department, Health and Safety. We're going to be voting to combine the ZBA and the Plan Commission in February. So that was something that Director Glinke had been talking about doing pre-COVID and pre-me joining the council, but it's been put on hold until now. So it's going to, hopefully, if it goes through, we'll streamline and improve the development process for the village. I want to really thank also Steve and Administrator Amade and Chief Gross for their work in researching the camera system. I know it was a lot of work, and I know it took a long time, but I think it's going to be a huge asset to our village and provide additional safety, crime prevention, and allow us to catch more criminals with, you know, the license plate reader system that works with Amber Alerts and all that kind of stuff. I think it's going to be fantastic. Also, really good news, Francesca Fiore reopened, and we have Smoothish, the new smoothie bar, which are both having really great reviews so far. And finally, it's not my department, but Chief Chapetta, I really like your thorough department reports with the photos, which are very informative and illustrative. Thank you for doing that. That's it for me. Thank you.
So two reports, right? I'm not sure how we feel about that, but we'll table that discussion. We'll table that discussion. Commissioner Nero.
Hey, it's wintertime in Forest Park in the Midwest, and guess what? That means it's gonna snow, and it has. And so I have been getting a lot of calls regarding the ice in the alleys. And it's different this year, right? Anytime it snows and a vehicle drives over it, you get snowpack. That snow will then turn into ice, and the more vehicles that drive over it, the ice gets harder, becomes harder to scoop up. I think our Public Works Department does a fantastic job clearing the alleys so you could drive out of your garage and move about your day. The concern is that, hey, how come we are not salting the alleys? And we don't salt the alleys because the product that we get in bulk, sodium chloride, check me, okay, has an adverse effect on concrete. It causes premature spalling, cracking, deterioration, and over time finds its way into those cracks. And all of a sudden, these beautiful alleys that we spent a lot of time in, not to even consider some of the green alleys that we did, and that salt and that water now gets permeates through and causes problems. So we spend all this time and money and effort on this infrastructure, and then we blow it to pieces. That's why we don't do it in the alleys. That's why we salt the streets and use beet juice, because they're blacktop. That's that. Now, that doesn't mean, as residents of the Village of Forest Park, when it snows outside, although be it our Public Works Department does a good job clearing the sidewalks, but as a resident, it's always nice to get outside, get some fresh air, and help. You can help by, the plows are not, they don't have a parabolic curve. If you notice, our alleys are kind of shaped like that. And so they can only do so much. And so getting out there and helping to clear and get the snow off the alleys and off your sidewalks before it gets hard packed down and turns into ice is usually the best bet. And so I do applaud the efforts of our Public Works Department, although with did a great job with an aging fleet, as we keep talking about, but we're making efforts, and Commissioner Vogt is very passionate about that, working together here with Sal and with Moses to help to shore up that fleet, which is all good news. And the last thing I'll say, Mayor, is I don't believe over the last few years we have a traffic and safety committee. It would be nice if we could make it would be on my recommendation that perhaps if people were interested in that, maybe to voice your concern or voice your interest in it, or perhaps if someone has someone, I know that's your appointment to make. There's been a couple issues with crossing guards. I know that Sal and I have been dealing with an issue on Roosevelt and First Avenue by the high school, and then also certainly the concern over at Garfield. It would be nice to have that committee to help vet these issues and bring those concerns full circle and back over to the council so we can make decisions based on their recommendations. And that will end my report. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Commissioner Nero. Commissioner Vogt.
I'll just echo the thanks of everyone else, Director Olmsted and your small department. You did a lot of work, and we really appreciate all of the hard work you do, and how helpful you are whenever we come in to chat. So I very much appreciate that. And we did have some snow, and our Public Works, Sal was totally prepared. He was on it. He was ready to go. And luckily we didn't have as much as some were projecting. So that was good, but they did a great job. So I just want to thank Sal and the Public Works Department for that. And that's it.
So just real quickly, I think we had announced before that the county was planning on reopening the mass vaccination center. They pushed that back. I think the original date was either January 10th or January 13th. It's been moved back to January the 18th because they had some training needs, but the old Hobo will once again be a site for vaccinations, particularly getting out boosters. That's really all I had for tonight. We have on the agenda adjournment into closed session. So at this time, the chair will entertain a motion to adjourn into closed session pursuant to 5 ILCS 120/2C to discuss compensation of employees and also to discuss a potential real estate purchase. Is there a motion?
Sure, Nero will make that motion.
Thank you. It's been moved by Commissioner Nero. Is there a second?
I'll second.
You're going to adjourn.
Right. Okay, so it's been moved by Commissioner Nero and seconded by Commissioner Burns. As council pointed out, we're adjourning into closed session, so we will not reconvene into open session. Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Burns,
Aye.
Commissioner Maxim,
Aye.
Commissioner Nero, Commissioner Vogt, Mayor Hoskins.
Ladies and gentlemen, you all may go watch college football. We're going to continue business in the mayor's office.